Hi, I'm David Freudberg. Each week at the Humankind on Public Radio podcast, we strive to practice the simple art of listening. At times it can feel like a lost art in our noisy world, and of course not everything is worth listening to. But for me, when I'm able to get centered, listening can be almost a sacred experience, a moment of focused attention that accords the speaker a measure of dignity. If you value this too, please help others to find our podcast. Consider going to Humankind on Public Radio at iTunes and leave us a kind review. And thanks for listening.
Peoples of all colors coming together in words, in literature. It's an honor. I never thought I was going to be doing this. I still can't believe that I have a bookstore here. It's a dream come true for me.
A most unusual barber in Los Angeles who expanded his shop into a community bookstore to promote literacy. You're listening to Humankind. I'm David Freudberg. It's late morning on a weekday, and the famous Barber of Santa Ana, California, near Los Angeles, is surrounded by what he loves most, children and books.
Thank you.
40 fourth graders are seated on the floor of the Libros para Niños children's bookstore as the good-natured, slightly manic figure of 61-year-old Rueben Martinez, a local barber with a commitment to literacy, bounces around in front of them.
Look at that beautiful piece of art up there. Un mexicano de Nayarit painted it. It's el sol y la luna. The sun and the moon están leyendo un cuento. They are reading a story. And that was donated by this famous artist for all the children of Santa Ana, California. Isn't that nice?
With large toy animals suspended from the ceiling, the new bookstore was designed by Martinez as a fun celebration of reading. Hundreds of colorful books, most in Spanish but many from other languages and cultures, are displayed on plastic white rain gutters that serve as attractive bookshelves.
I like this story because it's so true, and many of us have gone through these sad situations.
Wearing jeans and a silver mustache and holding a storybook, Martinez enchants his young listeners with the tale of a Latino girl who makes medicine from plants. And while he's got their attention, he delivers a message to the children of this working-class town about the importance of literacy.
If you read 20 minutes a day, 20 minutitos, todos los días, 7 días por semana, you will have read 1 million words a year. And if you read the 20 minutes a day, you will learn anywhere from 1,000 to 3,000 new words a year. So it's your choice. So when you get home tonight, you tell your moms and your dads to read to you out loud before you go to bed. And for those of you that have younger brothers and sisters, you read to them. Because reading a book can change your life, okay? You read to succeed. That's why I have so many books here. And these books are for you. Because when I was your age, we didn't have any books at home. We didn't have any. So I used to look forward to going to school on Mondays because I had a teacher that always had a book for me. And I used to get that book, tuck it between my pants, and I'd run to the closest bathroom. And I would lock myself in there and read, and read, and read, and I could go anywhere in this world from my bathroom. And now that I'm grown up, I am visiting a lot of these countries that I read about at the age of 9 and 10, the ages that you are. You have a question?
I have like her.
Uh-huh.
My little sister, every time before I go to school, my little sister saying, read me a story, read me a story, read me a story. And she likes me to read her a story, and I get the book and I start reading to her, and then she's so cute. She giggles and she laughs and she wants me to read it again and again and again. But and today I just couldn't finish the story. I had to go to school.
Well, that's important too. You know, that's a story in itself. Storytelling is in. Thank you for that, for sharing that beautiful story. So go home tonight and read some more.
Tell me how a barber became a champion of literacy.
Isn't that something? I don't know if there's a lot of people out there that are bigger champions than I am. I had a barber shop, I still do, and I've been a barber now for almost a little over 40 years, but I always had books. I never had magazines, okay? I remember when I was a kid, I used to get a haircut. They used to have all these magazines, but they weren't the nice ones. They were Crime and Police Gazette and all those type of things. And I said, I read them, but I wanted good literature. So when we had the barber shop, my customers wanted to borrow and read the books. And of course, I used to loan it to them, but never to be seen again. So that's where the idea came by. Friends were telling me, he says, you have these great books. Why don't you start a bookstore? And I did. I wanted to. I just didn't know how. I don't know anything about that type of business. One bookshelf, that's all I had in the barber shop. And then little by little, we expanded from one bookshelf to a second bookshelf to a third bookshelf. I had books and art all over that barber shop. You couldn't even see the paint. And people used to come in and see it because it was just like a little museum. Okay, they could find anything they wanted to there, besides a good haircut. And I used to be very, very busy then because I used to do the haircuts, answer the phones, sell the books. And so, and I used to be just by myself. And we've grown since, yeah.
Customers still receive haircuts daily, but the store has changed its name to Martinez Books and Art Gallery. And these days, the barber chair often goes unoccupied as Rueben tends to the duties of bookselling at his main store and here at the new children's bookshop a half block away. And he's that rare kind of businessman who passionately promotes the competition.
So what you want is a library card, because a library card will take you further, will take you all the way around the world. Get a library card, okay? And go visit those gold mines. And remember, tell your parents to read to you, and you read to your younger brothers and sisters so you can have a good life, okay? Thank you very much for joining us. Now let's go see what we can do about you, okay? Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much for being here in your bookstore, okay? A lot of them I have given away. When I'm in a good mood, I usually give books away to children, to parents. But my accountant said lately, quit being in a good mood. You got bills to pay. You got 2 bookstores now. And that's the way it started.
You have a reputation as a dynamo of community outreach. Describe some of your activities and why you're so committed to reaching out to the community.
Well, thank you for that compliment. I'm just an average person here in my city of Santa Ana. As busy as I am sometimes, I still have time left over to help somebody, whatever their cause is. I always put somebody else's thoughts and thinkings before mine. That's all I've ever done, and help them with whatever it is. We raise money for disabled children, for families that maybe their house burnt down. But we are involved in our community with the schools, with the teachers, with the parents, with many causes, from leukemia to cancer to diabetic causes and concerns. We are a meeting place. We had Mr. Clinton that came by and visited. We've had the governor of California that has been here quite a few times, senators, assemblymen, the mayors. They come and visit, and because they are into reading. And we have different types of books. These books you just can't find in your regular chain bookstores. Okay? We have good readings, good books.
Do you see a difficult road for a small bookstore in an age of these giant chains?
Oh, definitely. The odds are against us. It's a double-edged sword. Independents are going out. They're not lasting. Just like in any business, Montgomery Ward's, Sears, Home Depot, they're going because the bigger you are, the faster you move. It's just like a tank running over you. With us, it's different. Heck, nobody knows what we're doing, not including us. We're just growing because of the population. The population is growing. It's a reading population. I'm getting sick and tired of people telling me, "Oh, Mexican people, Spanish people don't read," and I said, "Well, if they don't, let's change that." And we have an address now. We have 2 addresses for the moms and the dads and for the children to come in and choose it, because when they come in, they get a lesson from us about the importance of reading. What happens if you read and what happens if you don't read? Do you want your child to be ahead of the line or in the back of the line? That's up to you, mom and dad. You have to endorse and support and read to your kids at home. And if you do that, your kid will be ahead of the line and they will write their goals and be someone special in this world. Reading does it, because reading is going to get you on to go out to other things. The reason that we are here is because we're very involved in our community. We're everywhere. We go to the schools. I have visited every school in my city of Santa Ana many times over. I'm visiting schools in Los Angeles and San Francisco. Now I'm going back east to Chicago, to New York, to Washington, to address and make presentations with students about the importance of an education, a good education, to think about life. You only go through it once. Family, how important family is, how important your community is, how important an education is, because without an education, it's going to be a sad life, and life is an opportunity. Mother Teresa said that. So why don't we learn and be somebody and go to school every day?
We're visiting with Rueben Martinez, the community activist barber turned bookseller in Santa Ana, California, near Los Angeles. You're listening to Humankind. I'm David Freudberg.
My house, my parents never talked about higher education. They were copper miners. Both my mom and my dad were miners.
In Arizona?
In Arizona, yes. That was during the 40s and the 50s. My mom was a miner, and she died at a very young age because she had lung, she used to cough at night, and she died young. I never wanted to work in the smelter. I never wanted to work in the mine mills. I never wanted to go underground. I was a reader. I wanted to go to Africa. I wanted to go to Argentina. I wanted to go to Mexico. I wanted to go to London, Paris, New York, Chicago, Los Angeles. I wanted to go. I didn't want to go work underground in a mine like rats. I didn't want that. I wanted to see what color this world was. And I'm finding out that it has thousands of beautiful colors. And that is us, the people, the languages. And we come in all sizes, and they come in here. So, yeah, I can't believe it. I can't believe we sell books.
You're, by any measure, a very unusual barber and unusual bookseller. And I'm trying to understand where inside of you this whole vision comes from.
I don't know, John Steinbeck, Ernest Hemingway, Juan Rulfo, Carlos Fuentes, Sandra Cisneros, they just turn me on, okay? And I fill up with all kinds of good feelings, with words, with stories, and I don't want to keep them in me. So boom, I release them to whoever wants to listen to them. And I have a listening army out there that comes to the store every day and says, let me tell you about this book and this author. So, and if they purchase it, I tell them, let me know if you liked it or not, okay? I want to know if you care for that story, this author. And they come back and tell me, says, thank you very much for recommending that book. I really enjoyed it, and now I'm recommending it to somebody else. We put authors on a pedestal here. They are so important. And here, I don't care how famous you are. We put you on a pedestal. And we've had some of the nation's finest authors come to visit us.
Who are some of the authors who've stopped by?
Well, we've had Isabel Allende. She came to visit us when I was in a small, tiny barbershop. It was the smallest barbershop. It was the smallest bookstore in America. And you only have 10 seconds to get their attention. So I said, Isabel, if you come and visit us, I can guarantee you we'll have 1,000 people at our book signing, and half of them are going to be under the age of 18. So she said, okay. She came down. Well, we surprised her. We had 3,000 people, and more than half of the audience that came was under the age of 18. She's one of the best sellers all over the world. The House of Spirits, that's the number one, the first book that she wrote, and she still sells more. Her books have been translated in 25 to 35 languages, and she writes in Spanish. Isabel Allende. We've had Jorge Ramos that has been here. We had 2,000 people for his book signing, and there was long lines down the sidewalk, and we dubbed it Lines for Literature. That's what we were dubbing. And then Sandra Cisneros came. She has a book called House on Mango Street. We had 1,000 people for her. She was surprised, okay? And now the great one, the big one, is coming into town, and that's Carlos Fuentes. He is coming to us because he knows that we're community people. And he said, oh, el peluquero, el barbero, so I'm known as the barber. I probably make more money cutting hair than selling books, but I'm rich here in my heart because we sell books.
Well, we'll just do a trim today.
That's it, just a little shaping.
Right.
Shaping and balancing. Yeah, that's what this world needs, shaping and balancing. Just move it a little bit more.
In 40 years of barbering, Rueben Martinez has conversed with countless loyal customers who mount his chair both for a stylish haircut and a spirited discussion that can drift from the personal to the literary to the political. So, feeling a bit shaggy myself, I donned the customer's smock, and as Rueben worked his shears, he described that special intimacy between a barber and the customers he grooms.
It's so hard. It's so hard to be a listener, to be a good listener. But a lot of the things that I've listened to, I've kept to myself. It's something that I cannot, share with anyone. This is very, very personal. And I've been told through the years wonderful, wonderful stories about life, family, community, thousands of divorces, many marriages, a lot of graduations, and sad moments, disagreements, fights, arguments, the political, the religion, you name it. Everything is discussed in a barbershop. Looks good. And now we'll go all the way around again. My customers are some of the richest in the world and some of the poorest in the world. And I had the pleasure once I was running late, of hooking up one of Orange County's richest persons in here, and I introduced them to one of the poorest, and they were around the same age, and they had so much in common. They had this conversation. One was good English and poor Spanish, but they got along real good. And then the following day, both of them called me, and they wanted to know if they had a phone number for him because they were wanting to invite each other for dinner. Isn't that something? And they were in their late 70s. Oh, God, that was great to do something like that.
where people come and neither one of them knew that this one person was rich or this one person was poor. They met here.
Everyone's equal in the barbershop.
And that means I'm not any better than they are. And actually, giving a haircut is just like doing your lawn, okay? And you use a lawnmower, okay? If you don't come back and do the edging, it's an unfinished job. So how many lawns have you seen out there that wasn't finished because they didn't do the edging? This is what we're going to do now.
A visit to the barber is one of life's odd moments of reality. As I confront the mirror and somehow hold an entire conversation with a person I'm seeing only through his reflection. While he clips and trims, I face the truth of my thinning hair, my lingering vanity, and the humbling fact that I must soldier through this existential crisis wearing a plastic smock spotted like a leopard skin. Rueben Martinez realizes he has to keep things lighthearted.
Okay, then what I'm going to do is water. This is what makes the hair grow. Water. So water is a miracle worker. Good old H2O.
It looks very nice.
Yeah.
Looks very nice. Thank you very much.
It doesn't look like you got a haircut. But you do look nice. Thank you.
I know that you have done a lot of work with prison inmates over many years. When did that start?
Well, it started about 25 years ago. I used to go to a juvenile hall, and parents used to tell me that my child is there, and do you think maybe you can go visit? And I says, I don't know. This is for family only. So when I talked to one of the teachers at juvenile hall, she said, oh, Ruben, we would like for you to come and visit to the students there. And I did, and it was an experience for me also because, you know, they have to clear you, number one, and then you have to go through this metal detectors, and you know the whole thing. So when I went in there, I told the students in there, God, you guys get in here so easy. Man, I had a heck of a time getting in here. Okay, some of the students in there, I asked them, any of you have any show of hands? Do any of you have any animals like a little dog or cats? And being, you know, tough guys, they don't want to let anybody know that they have little animals. He says, come on. He says, all my neighbors and my family grew up with dogs. Someone in here must have a dog. And finally, I could see one hand or two hands. And I said, well, good. What is the name of your dog? I tell the student. Then they tell me. And then I said, did you tell your little dog you were going to be here? And I said, well, what do you mean? It says, well, your little dog is probably wondering what happened to you. Now, that's not very nice because little animals give you nothing but love. And they wait for you to come home from school or from work. And here you are, and you never told them. When you get home, give your little dog a hug, but also hug your mom and your dad because even though you've done something wrong, they're very proud of you. And to them, there's nothing more important than your family, you as a family member. Remember that. And I know that your moms and your dads take 2 or 3 or 4 buses to get here to visit you. And if they're 10 minutes late, they won't let them in. And they spend the whole day in buses because they came to see you because of whatever it is that you did. So think about those things. And after visiting, you know, I've been doing it for quite a few years. I still get a lot of calls, and I do about two jails a month, but I tell them that they still have a good future. There's still time for them to start a new life if that's what they want to. You can always clear it up, clean it up, and be someone special and give rather than take, and help rather than hurt.
Do you have a favorite book?
Yes. Oh, yes. My favorite book, I read it in Spanish in the late 50s, was El Llano en Llamas by Juan Rulfo, the Mexican writer. He wrote it in 53, 54, 55. And that is The Burning Plain, Plain, El Llano en Llamas. And it's 20 short stories. They're 20 minutes long. And the stories are wonderful. They changed my life. They kept me going when things really go bad, because I've always said that if you really, 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 really want something really bad and you work hard and you put passion to it, it'll happen. But sometimes you really get what you don't expect. And being able to cope with this difficult times and how to overcome difficult obstacles. By reading, I've learned how to handle those, because there's goods and there's bads in this world. And so, love that book. I've read it about, maybe 50 times. Wow. I'll read it another 10 times before I leave. I want to read it because it makes my day.
Why is it so important that parents read aloud to their children?
They have to read, it is. They have to, first of all, they have to endorse their children. And endorsing their children is spending quality time with them and not just driving them to school. I think parents today need to spend more time with their children, period, okay? And talk about a lot of things, not only school, the grades, but today's young parents, if they read to their children out loud, especially the father. My personal campaign is to get daddies out there, el papá, el hombre de la familia, to stand up, sit down, and read to your child out loud, and then put them to bed. And then take out the trash. You're going to have a good marriage and you're going to be a good father. But that child will know what a book is before he or she attend a kindergarten and first grade. Many kids today don't have books at home. And that's why I always bring out the libraries, for them to go rent their books there free and to read that at home. Most likely their child will go on to higher education if they start reading at a young age.
Rueben Martinez, barber, literacy activist, and owner of Martinez Books and Art Gallery in Santa Ana, California. You're listening to Humankind. I'm David Freudberg. Our program is presented by Human Media in association with The Network Incorporated. Studio recording by Steve Colby. Editorial assistance from Brendan Tapley. Field recording by Tucker Stilley. Program development and support provided by Shart Media.
If you'd like to purchase a cassette copy of Humankind by phone, please call toll-free 1-800-5-LISTEN. That's 1-800-5-LISTEN. To learn more about this and our other programs and to hear selected episodes online or to order tapes online, check our website, humanmedia.org. That's humanmedia.org.
And if you'd like to send us an email, the address is listeners@humanmedia.org. Please let us know where you're writing from. This segment on The Literary Barber with Rueben Martinez is Humankind program number 34.
To hear more episodes of Humankind, you can subscribe to our free podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, or your preferred podcast player. A new episode each week. The podcast title is Humankind on Public Radio. And if you enjoy this program, be sure to leave us a kind review at iTunes and Stitcher. If you want to support the program, please visit humanmedia.org, and at the top of the homepage, click on How You Can Help. Again, our web address is humanmedia.org. Thanks.